You're listening to the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast.
What is up, everybody? You are checking out the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, the Hot Commodity Ant C, joined by my own Hot Commodity Ant, and we are jumping into the Attitude Era as we're covering WWF SmackDown from September 23rd, 1999, live in Dallas, Texas, and this is the last stop to WWF Unforgiven. So to kick off SmackDown, Vince McMahon comes out. Vince says, I'd like to introduce to you the man who claims to be the game, Triple H. And then Triple H and Chyna come out. Vince says, now that I'm back in full control of the WWF, that's not good for you. The headache I gave you on Raw is nothing compared to the migraine you get tonight. Just because you threaten harm on my family, I'm going to get even. Rather than wait for Sunday tonight, you will face all of your 5 opponents in different matches. And for Triple H to advance Unforgiven, he must win 3 out of the 5 matches. So the first match, we have Triple H taking on Big Show in a Chokeslam match.
What year was this?
1999. Big Show gets the quick win after chopping Triple H and chokeslamming him. After Big Show lands another chokeslam to Triple H. Obviously, we knew Triple H was not going to be able to chokeslam the Big Show, so this is pretty much a way for Big Show to attack Triple H and soften him up for more wrestlers to come. We see the Dudley Boyz attacking Teddy Long backstage with a trash can, and Michael Cole references that Teddy Long is a good friend of Farouk, a part of the Acolytes, so this is going to further the rivalry with the Dudley Boyz. Chris Jericho is seen backstage. He wants a first blood match with Ken Shamrock, and he wants that match for tonight. And we have second match of the night, the WWF European Championship on the line. The European Champion Sexual Chocolate Mark Henry defending against X-Pac, and D'Lo Brown joins commentary. D'Lo will take on Sexual Chocolate at Unforgiven. This is a decent match between the two. X-Pac is able to land a Bronco Buster, but Mark Henry hits a clothesline. X-Pac kicks Mark Henry to the floor, and X-Pac gets the win by countout. After Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown fight until Mark Henry tosses D'Lo into the ring pose. What'd you think of this? D'Lo and Mark Henry aren't getting along because, D'Lo tried to get him in shape. Henry didn't like that. He turned on him, and they're having back and forth attacks. But what do you think of this Sexual Chocolate gimmick?
It was cool. It was cool. I mean, D'Lo wasn't my favorite. I thought he was a little corny. But D'Lo and Mark Henry definitely had some funny gigs together, like when he was trying to get Chyna.
Yeah.
And stuff.
That was funny.
And they worked well together. And classic attitude stuff.
Yeah, it was good. Luna Vachon's backstage, and she wants her match at Unforgiven with Ivory to be a hardcore match. WWF Intercontinental Champion Jeff Jarrett comes out with Miss Kitty. Jeff says, my name is Jeff Jarrett, and I'm a man's man, and this is a man's world. Men are dominant and women are weak. When I bitch slap Chyna, she'll understand reality. Just like Deborah. Deborah entered my world, and you saw what happened to her. And then Jarrett starts yelling at a stage manager. He applies a figure 4 leg lock on the stage manager, but then Chyna runs out and hits Jeff Jarrett with a frying pan. She puts on an apron on Jeff Jarrett, and then she pulls Jarrett's pants off and puts them on. And Chyna says, "I'm Unforgiven. You're going to see who's wearing the pants and your title." So Chyna finally gets some kind of revenge with Jarrett. Finally gets involved. Gets the upper hand on the lead against Unforgiven. What'd you think of this?
Chyna was definitely always one of my favorites. And it was cool because, it really showed what she could do. I mean, Jeff Jarrett was one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time. And Chyna definitely held her own with him. And it really showed her potential. I love Chyna and DX, but you didn't see what she could do. And I thought it was really
Yeah, this is a good rivalry so far, and I'm glad to finally see it play out.
and it's believable. Like
Mhm.
when Chyna fought Jeff Jarrett, it was like she was fighting him, you know?
Yeah. Next up, Triple H must take on Kane in an Inferno match. During the match, X-Pac is seen hurt on stage. Undertaker, Mideon and Viscera stand above him, and Undertaker holds a bloody X-Pac. That was a creepy sight to see. Undertaker jumps over the fire with a clothesline on top of Mideon and Viscera on the floor. During the scuffle, Kane catches his glove on fire, and Triple H gets the victory. Undertaker says no one orders him to do anything. There will be no casket match. Vince McMahon shows up. Vince tells Undertaker, if you don't compete tonight, you won't have Unforgiven. Undertaker says, maybe I won't be doing anything. So let's talk about that for a minute. Undertaker's been fighting with Kane. He interferes in the match. Undertaker then tells Vince, I don't give a fuck about this. I'm doing whatever I want. He's wearing his like biker attire in this. What do you think is going on here? Because for Taker to just walk out, we know he goes on vacation for a while, but
After this.
yeah.
Now, when he comes back, is that when he's American Badass?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think this was like the Undertaker's way of transitioning into the American.
Okay. Okay.
So I think it was cool because it made you wonder like, oh my God, is the Undertaker really leaving? And then he comes back, you know, I won't say better than ever, but him being the American Badass was like one of the few transitions that I thought was cool. He like, even though he was the American Badass, he was still the Undertaker, and it was awesome.
I agree. I do think it's weird that he just leaves, but as of right now, Undertaker says he won't be involved at Unforgiven. WWF Tag Team Champion The Rock comes out. He mocks Triple H, telling Triple H his game sucks. Rock says he will take the Stanley Cup and stick it up Triple H's ass. And then the other half of the Tag Team Champions, Mankind, comes out. Mankind wants to protect the people's jewels so we can have a Rocky Jr. running around. And then the Road Dogg comes out. Road Dogg returns. Road Dogg says he had reservations at the SmackDown Hotel. No one wants a Brahma Bull or Boiler Room. They want to see the original guys, and that's when Mr. Ass comes out. The New Age Outlaws reunite. They hug, and we have the tag champions, The Rock and Mankind, defending against the New Age Outlaws here. And in surprising fashion, Mr. Ass tosses Mankind into The Rock, and then Mr. Ass is a Paymaster. And we have new WWF Tag Team Champions and the New Age Outlaws. What do you think of this?
New Age Outlaws are my favorite tag team of all time. It was awesome to see. I think that's the last time they win the titles together, is it?
I think.
I'm pretty sure. So it was cool. I was a little bit weary of Mr. Ass because I feel like he is gonna turn on Road Dogg, but I was like when I was a kid in 8th grade, it was like my dream for them to get back together. So
I'm just surprised that they switched the titles like that so just randomly, but the New Age Outlaws are former champions, so I can see that. Vince McMahon tells Mideon and Viscera that they will take the Undertaker's
who did
place.
they beat?
They beat The Rock and Mankind.
Well, see, I think that was they wanted fan favorites, and The Rock and Mankind had to go into the 6-pack challenge, so it would be weird for them to be tag team partners. And I think maybe they wanted to keep the fans happy because the fans loved the New Age Outlaws. So I think that was kind of like their consolation prize.
Good theory. So now we have our casket match. Triple H takes on Mideon and Viscera. During the match, Chyna low blows Viscera, allowing Triple H to pedigree on both men. And then Triple H puts Mideon in the casket. But Shane McMahon comes out and says, you haven't won yet. They both need to go in the casket. So Triple H is pissed because obviously he can't do it. Viscera splashes Triple H 3 times, and Triple H loses this match. So far, it's Triple H 1-2. So he needs to win more to advance.
Which means he has to beat The Rock.
Yep, and Mankind. Ivory accepts Luna's challenge backstage for Unforgiven, a hardcore match. Hardcore Holly comes out, and Hardcore says he left Big Boss Man blind and senseless. And then Hardcore Champion Al Snow comes out, and we have Hardcore Holly versus Al Snow. But we see Big Boss Man hitting a car with dogs in it, and that distracts Al Snow, allowing Hardcore Holly to pin Al after Big Boss Man feeds Al Snow dog food.
And Big Boss Man passed away.
Yes. Yeah. But we're leading up to the Kennel and Hell match with that, so this whole dog situation will come to an end. Gross. Next up, we have the Boiler Room Brawl, Triple H versus Mankind. This is
I remember the first Boiler Room Brawl.
Yeah, that was
SummerSlam.
Triple H pours steel bolts on the floor, and he suplexes Mankind onto them. He hits Mankind in the back with a pipe. Mankind applies Mr. Sacco, and then Mankind is on a ledge, but someone pushes Mankind off the ledge with a pole. He falls off and lands through a table, and Triple H leaves the Boiler Room. So Triple H now must beat The Rock to advance. Who do you think pushed Mankind off? I think I know who it was, but I don't want to say just yet.
Vince.
Vince. Okay, you think Vince is helping
Triple H?
Triple H?
You think?
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
It could be Vince. Speaking of Vince, British Bulldog is looking for him. He wants to talk to him. We have our first blood match next, Chris Jericho versus Ken Shamrock. Chris Jericho comes out in hockey gear with a hockey stick, and he's totally like just fucking with Ken Shamrock. But Ken ends up pulling the mask off, but Curtis Hughes comes in. But Ken Shamrock hits him with a clothesline. Chris Jericho attacks Shamrock with a hockey stick, and he lands a flying splash, and Ken Shamrock bleeds eternally, meaning Chris Jericho gets the win here. What'd you think?
I was a big Ken Shamrock fan. I thought it was a good rivalry. You know, Y2J is always funny, and Ken Shamrock's really intense, and it was good.
Yeah. Bulldog finds Vince, and he wants to be involved in the Unforgiven match. Vince grants him that opportunity, so Bulldog will be taking Undertaker's place. We've made it to our main event, the special Brahma Bull Strap Match, The Rock versus Triple H with Chyna. The special guest referee for this match is the British Bulldog. During the match, Jeff Jarrett comes out and hits Chyna in the back with a frying pan. And then the British Bulldog clotheslines The Rock out of nowhere. It lands a running power slam. And Triple H hits The Rock with a pedigree. And Triple H will move on to Unforgiven thanks to the British Bulldog. After Bulldog stomps The Rock, and he chokes The Rock with a strap and raises Triple H's hand. What'd you think of the British Bulldog turning on The Rock?
It's
Okay.
So,
maybe they'll explain more after the pay-per-view.
maybe. But even at the pay-per-view.
Maybe Triple H gave him money to help him.
Maybe.
Well, we got our pay-per-view Unforgiven 1999 coming up next, so we'll be covering all of the month of September and covering Unforgiven. So until next time, stay safe and stay uncensored.